A minor variation by Not Murphy. What kind of screen name is that? Chapter 3, For Want of a Pony. After 3 months of hard work, training, and determination, I am proud to say that I feel an each and every one of you is skilled enough to join Pegasus Society in a role of your choosing. Differently able beamed at her students, before raised before her on a long, low-flying cloud. This is not an honor that comes with a medal. A trinket is a thing you can lose. Instead, I will offer you a memory, something that will stay with you for the rest of your life and cannot be taken, stolen, or lost. The wind, once had been blowing, increased in intensity, the sky beginning to dim. Thundercloud raised a hoof, huffing. Yeah, that's great and all, but why are we meeting so far for Cloudsteel, inside of the Everfree Forest? The colt's frame suggested that there was now some muscle under everything else. This air feels strange, muttered Gale, the youngest student. Ha! Miss Gale, you may have a future in weather management! As you know, each of you has not only qualified for your Class 1 competency certificate, but has also passed the test for Class 2 difficult weather safety. We are indeed here, near the boundary of Everfree Forest, because I have received permission from the local weather team to assist in storm watch. Differently able grinned from ear to ear, proud of the gifts she could provide her little ponies. Those little ponies did not look as enthusiastic as she did, but she either didn't notice or intend to ignore their reservations. Our job is to! Abel raised her voice against the wind, which was now whistling through some taller trees nearby. It's to watch the ends of the storm that has spontaneously generated from the forest! If we determine the storm is coming too close to Ponyville, the weather team will step in and contain! The rest of Abel's speech was drowned out by the formation of a funnel cloud, tearing the ground where it touched down, winds howling and thunder flashing from nearby pitch-black storm cloud. The storm of ages. Oh, bloody! Turner's voice went unheard. He began a frantic search of his saddlebags. Class and dismiss! Run, my little ponies, run! Of the many faces Omega Flight had seen differently able make, abject terror had been one until now. Feral mammoths! Derby began shoving classmates over the side of the cloud, dismissing Darking Gale, who took flight in her panic, only to be swept up into the storm almost instantly. Hooves! Abel screamed at the stallion. What? How did you? A metallic cinder dropped. Get on your hooves! Any other words of advice were lost as the storm tore apart the cloud. The 2 adult Pegasi were standing on as a bolt of lightning transfixed the white pony. As Turner dragged, control fell of Abel's body. Fluttershy was locked in panic. Everything stopped. Fluttershy could make out individual raindrops, which looked exactly like the tears on every pony's faces. Terror, shock, horror for their teacher or themselves, or simple weather. It was all water. Well, tears have salt and rain is salty. I wonder if different kinds of tears have different amounts of salt. The idea was absurd. She suppressed a giggle. As she started, she might never stop. Motion. A pony approached from the frozen storm. Stormlight bleached her colors pale yellow and ashen pink. Do I look like that? The rear pony stepped directly in front of her. Frowned. A similarity smacked Fluttershy's face with a hoof. Tears brimmed. Diego glared, raised her hoof again, waiting. Why? Stop being so hasty and selfish! No, just look at me. I never... You are going to die! Your friends are going to die! Your teacher is going to die! And what are you doing? Crying? There's nothing I can do. There doesn't seem to be anything you will do. The doppelganger tilted her head, a smile in insinuating saccharine manner. Oh, wait. You'll cry. What you mean is you won't let the feather to help any pony. What can I possibly do? I'm not good. Don't you dare! Too many ponies have made sacrifices for you. Now it's time to start paying it back. Okay. Wait! I'll do it! Stop hitting me! Took long enough. The rain started falling back again. Bear pie! Derpy's left eye was practically spinning. Fluttershy stood.
Thanks. Now get out of here. Wait, a second thought. Come with me.
So he turned to the Thundercloud and Snowflake, gesturing at their fallen teacher.
Every pony grab a leg. We need to get out of here.
No pony argued. Each lifted a different limb and raised the mare off the ground. Barking orders, Fluttershy led the organized chaos to the dubious shelter of a corpse of trees a few hundred yards from where the group had fallen.
Turner, you're the only one here big enough to move teacher on their own. I remember seeing the cars on the way here. It was that way, towards town. I'm not a doctor, but I'm sure that being out here isn't helping her. You two, help me get her onto Turner's back.
I. The brown stallion's eyes darted back and forth.
Tim, look at me. Tim, I'm going to say this, and this is the most important thing I will ever say to you. Run!
He ran.
The rest of you, stay on the ground. I think Miss Abel's right. You saw what happened to Dorothy?
No pony moved. What are you going to do?
Somebody has to alert the weather team that was standing by.
Hey! You still said not to fly! Snowflake snapped.
Somebody has to. The rest of you will tell anyone you've seen. But get out of here. Without you, there won't be any Omega flight.
The skull is stronger than a single slimmer. Brain's fan comments like, we can't leave you behind. Four determined airs met Fluttershy's.
Then let's go. This feeling, what is it? It's light and heavy at the same time.
It didn't take long to find the weather team, who were already heading towards the storm. The captain of the team flew down toward them. Keep moving! This isn't a place set for civilians!
We're not civilians. We're your lookout team. We have a storm to report.
We'll consider it reported. Now, get out of here. We hardly have the wing power to steer this monstrosity. If we have to look out for it, we can't be watching you!
Sounds like you need every pony you can get if you're going to beat this storm, sir. And we're not rejects. We're Omega Flight.
Look, kid, not to make any impact on this thing, we need a combined wing power of over 800...
Never tell me the odds. Look, we're not going. Arguing is only going to waste your time. So just take our help and be grateful. If it's okay with you. Oh my stars. Am I really yelling at our weather captain? I'm insane. Never mind.
Okie dokie. That's the last of the windows secured, Miss Pussy. I mean, sir, all the animals are safely inside. Make double sure that the carnivores wouldn't go to plant ears.
The pink pony practically pranced in place. He was so anxious.
Oh, that's good, dearie. Have you?
The fire is out. The flue is closed.
Well, good. What about?
And all the glass stuff is in the boxes with towels wrapped around it, stacked with medicines and ointments for on top for easy access.
Her feet were raising and lowering at one time.
Be still,
She admonished herself.
Ha! Child, I do not know where you get the energy. Forgive an old nag who is frustrated she can no longer see preparations herself. The price of having access to herbs and plants that won't grow anywhere else is unpredictable.
Thunderous pounding responded from the door. The regularly suggested pony agency rather than wind.
Damn it!
Pigamina pulled the door open, only to have it swing from her grasp and smack against the wall as the wind blew in. Two bronze ponies, one on top of the other, huddled outside. Please help, stammered the stallion, as the pink pony was already hurting him inside, moving to draw the obviously unconscious mare from his back. Lightning strike, airborne, fell. He huffed before losing consciousness himself.
Eternal burn, shock, exposure. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? She's quicker, bigger than a pony. Okay, priorities. Door!
Putting her back against the door, Pigmia shoved the door closed by inch.
Miss Posey! Customers!
The elderly mare could clawed her way to the main room. All right, Pigmina, Diane, what can you tell us?
I'll listen right now. Well, her friend says she was struck by lightning while flying. I could see the burn here on her back left hoof where it exited, and it must have entered from here, just above the tail. Her breathing is even, but shallow. Her height is cool, but her breath is still warm.
On and on, the observations detailing the extent of the injury, suggesting details that couldn't be seen, specifying the process of treatment. As he ran out details, Posey began giving directions. In a crisp but gentle tone, the younger pony flashed back and forth, almost leaving echoes of herself in her haste, to start the treatment before the patient could get any worse. It would be hours before anyone noticed the markings on her flank. 3 pluses in an arc, the middle about 2 ends, in yellow, blue, respectively.
Tring!
1 kitty mark down. Where the ponies and the students, so differently able, flew around the storm counterclockwise.
Okay, we need to start flying in the opposite direction the storm is spinning, and What? We can't counter whirlwind to slow it down? This is insane. This is the only thing we can do. I can do this. We can do this. We are going to do this.
Faster and faster they circled. The howling winds began to double back on themselves. The storm's progress slowed. Cloudy traces were starting to form behind some of the ponies as they fought against the air.
Oh no. Wait! Surface resistance creates dragon.
Memories of Rainbow Dash, discussing the funny 500, flashed in her mind.
Captain!
Fluttershy shouted over the storm. The captain glared at the demanding filly, eyes narrowed in concentration, even under his standard issue goggles. We need to form a draft line! There was no sign he understood. No sign he was going to do what Fluttershy wanted.
He's not going to listen. We're going to... No! If he won't listen, make him listen!
She drew a breath and released it, redoubled her flying, flapping up behind the captain, onto his back. She grabbed the side of his head.
Listen to me! The amount of speed we need to stop this thing, we're going to run into air resistance. We need to form a draft tail, so we're like a needle instead of a parachute.
She was practically screaming in his ear. Shock initially. Anger, consideration, surprise, more anger, resignation flashed across the captain's face as he turned and saluted Fluttershy. The oars went up. Line up! Grab the tail of the pony in front of you and bite the princess's corona. Fly as hard as you can! It worked, at first. They got down into a single file and started passing ponies up the line to keep the freshest flyer in the front. When Fluttershy's turn came, she saw they were all flagging.
We can keep this up much longer, but it's almost worked. We have to fix this now.
She didn't have any reserves left. She flew harder anyway. She banked toward the storm, dropping a few feet to gain speed. Flew further in, pressed harder. She felt like her wings were going to fall off. The opposing wind pressed against her face. She couldn't pull air in. The storm collapsed in on itself. Most of it dust dispersed. A wave of water was squeezed out. The corals pulled into a tight spear with all the electrical potential of the storm. A bright ball of air as he collapsed past the point he could stand, and then exploded outward as an expanding disk of clouded thunder, racing across the upper skies of Equestria. None of the weather ponies saw any of this, since they had all been concentrating on the flank and front, and not being intruded from behind.
Shring!
The arrival of Fluttershy's Cutie Mark, a storm cloud in the shape of a butterfly, also went unnoticed. Twilight Sparkle contemplated the apple tree in front of her. Malus domesticus, cultivar red delicious, Southfield, row 12, tree 2, Blumenthal II. Satisfied she had identified the tree in question, she addressed the taste of apples, the feel of the bark, and the smell of the freshly watered soil, and the darn fact that she couldn't buck an apple to save her life. Look, I'm here to pick apples. Mr. McIntosh and Mrs. Smith say it's okay that I'm not strong enough to make apples fall. I think it's heavily implied that I had to be an earth pony to do it right anyway. But I'm going to be helpful! Shouting at the tree did not help. All of my studies were wrong, obvious, or things that members of the apple family were first to learn anyway. The only things I have that I can contribute are brain power, organizational skill, and magic. My theoretical knowledge is tramped by the practical knowledge the apples already have. Ditto for the organization of the farm. Mental note, sap apple rituals are fascinating. Make sure you document Mr. Smith's mythologies. Focus! That leaves only magic. Plucking one apple at a time telekinetically is ridiculously inefficient. Probably why the apples developed bucking in the first place. I can't learn to buck because I'm not strong enough, and I don't get to plant the earth while I should. Twilight stopped wheezing before she hyperventilated and regained her wits. The solution is obvious, in hindsight. If magic is my tool to unlock this dilemma, then the key is the spell. A spell like Verdant's Horn Analysis Plant, which I just so happened to have found at the local library. With a smile that was only slightly self-congratulatory, Sparkle unrolled the scroll in question with her magic and began formulating the mental symbols that would mold her magic to the desired effect. Glowing sizzles popped, one at a time. From her horn, it began surrounding her in a gentle violet glow. Arranging themselves into two rings, they rotated in opposite directions, shifting colors to a deep green. The upper ring drifted forward, surrounding the tree. Blumenthal the second. A hazy green glow tethered the two rings, and therefore the pony and tree. The rings condensed into their targets with an audible pop! A rapidly expanding ring of rippling gray streaked across the sky, followed by an explosive roar that completely shattered Twilight's concentration. Her carefully orchestrated spell fell apart as reservoirs of magical potential she never contemplated, let loose, let alone knew, poured into the purple pony's mind. It suffused her horn in a brilliant fuchsia glow that caused her eyes to emit white light that would have blinded any pony looking into them. The spell, disrupted but not dispersed, provided an outlet for the massive magical energy emission. A deep green shockwave blasted across Sweet Apple Acres, without causing so much as a single leaf to fall. I can see! Every plant! Every limb! Every vein on every leaf! I can feel them growing. I know what photosynthesis feels like! It's all connected! It's so perfect! Tears streamed down eyes that went from floodlights to flashlights to a dim residual glow. Twilight didn't even realize she had been floating until all her hopes touched the ground. Gently, the spell ended, but the experience was burned deeply into the unicorn's memory, etched in green. All of it. It's just so. She wiped the remaining tears away, with a wistful smile on her face.
Twilight! Twilight Sparkles!
Big Macintosh galloped up the road, concerned for the volunteer worker.
There you are, Miss Sparkles. You all okay?
Twilight was her spur. The Sparkles thing had originally been a mistake, then a joke, and simply become a habit. She considered part of her training not getting upset over minor details, most of the time. Although, she had a feeling it wouldn't bother her much anymore.
I'll say, did the explosion damage your ears, Miss Sparkles?
Right. Oh, social interaction. Sorry, I'm okay, Mr. Macintosh.
Big Mac will be just fine.
Big Mac caught something and stared, realizing where he was staring. Looking away, brushy furiously.
You got something on you.
He gestured behind Twilight. On my what? Ching! Twilight turned around once more, looking on her flank, where her newly acquired Cutie Mark lay. 9 stars raised in a hexagon, points vertical, with lines between and 1 star pointing forward. The Tree of Knowledge? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say! She didn't know what to say.
Well, outside this counts for a party,
Cried the diminutive voice from Big Mac saddlebags.
Apple Bloom!
Well, like this, I think she's got to play a kissy area. You know, after I got my plane deal, I can let you see my nails if you want some ideas.
She looked so earnest, this tiny little filly. I'm seeing Apple Bloom in a little bag with her little hooves hanging over the edge, and it is adorable.
Apple Bloom, to go better than Twilight. This is a special moment.
Actually, I think I like that Apple Bloom. Let's go back to the house. Oh my gosh, is Mrs. Granny Smith okay?
Take more than an overgrown thunderhead to take out Granny.
You know, I think this is more words than I've heard you say last week.
Yep.
You really don't like the way I swear it, do you?
Nope.
You're kidding, right? What did he even get a dragon's egg? Look, Trinity, if this is a normal intrinsic sound test, then it can't be beyond the capabilities of unicorns your age.
Not a drop of sweat fell from her brow, as Rarity frowned in concentration at the cart and egg before her. In the background, the board of examining unicorns frowned, scribbled on her notepads. Her parents stood off to the side, straining between pride and desire not to interrupt her exam. Sleepy Belle was asleep on her mother's back. Will you stop making adorable things, Fix? My gosh, we barely survived doing this for Winter Bells with all that next scenes. You think I'm going to survive this?
Any time now, Miss Bell.
The head examiner grumbled. His complaints were ignored.
First thing, all eggs need warmth. Dragons have a rather great capacity for warmth, so it probably needs more than a chicken would.
Azure lit her horn as he applied a cantrip, originally designed for heat to seal a visible tape.
Now, an egg is round like a spear. A spear distributes stress evenly, so in order to crack the surface of the egg, uneven pressure is needed. The picture shows the cell splitting in half on height-wise. Should I try to put it apart? What if the dragon is not ready? I wouldn't want to kill it.
Her breathing deepened and became a huff.
No! This egg was prepared for the exam. It must be ready. And if I'm wrong, surely they have it warded. Catalan isn't known for avenging dragon raids, so they can't be killing unhatched dragons left and right. Okay, breathe. So, boom!
More blue light enveloped the egg, causing it to flatly settle face on.
Okay, now for the uneven press.
With a thunderous crash! All the southern windows shattered as a near solid wave of fog slammed into them. Screams stopped almost as soon as they began. Every pony realized he had not been cut to ribbons by shattered glass. Rarity floated, a foot off the ground. Sweat dripping out of every pore. The message coming from her mind saying, "Leave them alone!" Wow, Rarity. I've seen a lot of ponies do a lot in order to activate their tests to prove themselves worthy, but that, pretty damn awesome! Her horn lost its light. Rarity collapsed, and the glass fell to the ground without harming any pony in the room. Everyone was so happy to be alive, busy telling each other that they were, in fact, still alive. Shing! It took nearly 10 minutes to notice the newly hatched baby dragon on the cart. The fallen filly's flank flaunted a 5-gem pentagram with a larger stone depicted in the center.
Oh, what's wrong? I know it's a beautiful thing to see Rarity get her cutie mark.
It's not that! It's just that Rarity's going to treat Spike like a son now! That means this universe isn't going to have any Sparity shipping! Oi! Shippers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have your years of blasting toneless noise into your ears has finally gotten you deaf? I said I'm tired of your insulting symphonic music.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have your years of having conducted this baton up your plot left you unable to do anything but sniff disapprovingly when ponies try to have a little something called fun?
Well, this isn't going well at all. Applejack has been listening to Final and Octavia stay back and forth for longer than she cared to think about. They were 5 minutes late for the start of Final Octave Overdrive's last on-tour performance, and they were not having this latest spat of long-line arguments and piracy. No, they were on stage with an audience who had come to hear music. Well, I hope they came here to listen to music. We're doomed they actually came here to expect an effect. Worst of all, there was no way of telling if one of them was in the right. They just went back and forth. Usually they made their jabs and some sort of setting each other off. But since they had been on the road, unable to escape each other for more than an hour at a time, things had escalated. A favorite record got broken. A cello was smashed at the end of the last performance. The audience loved it. Octavia was livid. Snacks were swiped. Glasses got lost. Techno blared all night, and then instruments were tuned loudly all morning. It was a mess! This was the end of it. It was supposed to be the end of it. This performance provided enough bits to send every pony home, pay off a significant portion of student loan aid, and end the tour contract. The contract was the other problem. Scratch and Octavia had a dynamic. Anyone could see that. The agent who crafted the tour could see it. So he stipulated that they had put on at least 10 performances before the contract was fulfilled and they got any money. They pulled off 9 performances and had to cancel 4 times. This, the 14th tour stop, was it.
Man, Jericho Benton is really getting lenient.
You know, I ain't getting paid enough for this. I could just walk away right now. Huffington's nasty time of year, I hear. She was in Huffington. Horse apples! No, I can't let it end like this. The crowd came here for a performance, and I'm going to see to it that they get one. Hold on, girls. I gotta go get a few props. You just keep entertaining the crowd with your verbal skills now. Fortunately, neither performer heard her over the sound of her own grievances. Dancing back to her personal trunk, Applejack pulled out items that had remained tracked at the bottom since, since he left the farm. Take it! No time for melancholy now. It's up to you to make sure every pony leaves here with a smile. The renewed resolve, the orange pony slipped into Octavia's room to retrieve a recording by Aaron Cropland. Racing back on stage, she checked that neither musician was injured, and made a dive for the record table. Cranking the volume, then pausing and turning it down from an aggressive 7 to a brutal 11. Why 11? Because I like to go one step beyond. Why does he even have it said like that? 10 could be the top volume, it would be round at least. Focus, Jackie. Focus! One last look over her gear, adjustment of her boots, and girding of her resolve left her with no more excuses. Music blasted from the speakers, and a one-pony rodeo exploded onto stage. She leapt, hollered, roped, and wrangled. There was juggling. There was acrobatics. Some pony threw her a tomato. She lassoed it and returned it to sender. She was losing them. Ponies were getting up from their seats and heading towards the doors. But the best result was that Vinyl and Octi weren't fighting anymore. They were staring dumbfounded. It wasn't working. The only people smiling were the ones that joined the abject failure of others. Jackie was just bringing her lasso in to wrap it up again, when a wall of clouds streamed across the sky. So the last bit of remaining lightning managed to find its way to the radio's transmitter, decided to transform a last bit of mischief by shorting out everything plugged to the electrical system. 1 minute Jackie was whirling rope into a neat coil to catch with her teeth. Proper usage outweighed her desire to find a rock to hide under. And the next, an ear-splitting squawk jerked her head sharply, and she was trussed up tighter than a pig in a rodeo. Shoot! I'm tied up tighter than a pig in a rodeo! Laughter. Genuine amusement made audible. Well, lights feeling to them? It's just what we used to say down. I wonder. Hey! You two ladies want to help a girl out here? Or are you still picking at each other to make a hands at the cord's been thrown? Again laughter. Maybe even a few tears. Best of all, 2 shade-faced musicians helped her out of the ropey mess she was trapped in. No time for pride now. Rack that brain, girl! You ever notice how every place has its own way of saying, boy, do I ever had a bad hangover? At Bowville, we call it Celestia's Wrath. In my hand, it's power too hard. At Colton, they say it's Monday. And at Huffington, they say, give me a little beer. Wait, let's see it's Huffington. Pony feathers. The laughter was thunderous. Ponies whistled and stomped, and most importantly, got back into their seats. Jackie kept it up for half an hour. Behind her silent apologies were exchanged. Last-minute stage preparations happened. Vinyl had to drag her off stage. So, why didn't you tell us that you were a comedian? I just found out 30 minutes ago. A hug and a hoof bump later. Shring! Vinyl pointed at Jackie's flank, where an apple and an orange were supported by a cross tied between green and blue balloons. Well, now that don't just me all. Sir doesn't tell me where I belong. But I guess I don't really head to the south, do I? Pops! Pop! Rainbow called to her father desperately. He shook his head as he felt like it was rattled. Hey, you okay? I think the blue one ended up over by you. She was holding up a pad of paper and yellow red crayon. Without thinking, Thunderdash reached to his left, picked up something the right size, and handed over a blue crayon. Thanks, Pop! Pop! It's over here. She's fine. Professorly care provided, Rainbow Dash returned to her canvas. She worked with a quiet desperation. The cloud boom left her with an inspiration that threatened to vanish at a moment's notice. Filling in the last part, she placed the dot in the lower right and turned her masterpiece around. A single curving arc somehow embodied the line of a wing, a predator crouched to strike, in the front of a raging flood. Many other metaphors for action was drawn in yellow and red and blue. Underneath in cyan were 3 words. Just do it. No pony noticed the same swoosh to grace the filling's flanks with a paintbrush crossing it. Shing! Sunny Rains put a hose on her shoulder. A single rare tear fell down Thunderdash's cheek. Featherin' brilliant.